All right, so next what we're going to do is we are going to bring in our little fishy. So what I don't want you to do is this. You remember that was an option up here, and I'll show you. I'll do it. Don't do this. You could do new 3D layer from file, and then we could choose our little fishy fish guy. Your mesh, open, and we'll hit OK. That's fine. I'll explain that afterwards. But what you're going to notice is it's kind of weird, right? I don't have the fish selected. I could select the fish and rotate him, as well. But you'll see what happens is basically this. You're going to end up with like two separate, there's going to be two 3D layers. So there's this 3D layer and then there's this 3D layer. And they don't interact in any way. And so, yeah, I don't think they even cast shadows on each other, right? Yeah. So like they don't. I'm not even sure if it does or not. Let's see. Yeah. So they don't interact in any sort of way. So basically, it's like there's two separate. Basically, those 3D layers are like little worlds in and of themselves, and they're not connected in any way. So you'll not get shadows. You'll not get, which in some ways might be good if you're trying to create like an effect or something. But in our case, that's not something we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this dude. Let me see. I'll just delete it. And delete layer. Yep. Okay. And what we're going to do instead is add that to this layer. So in here, I'm just going to right click. Come on. Right click. Maybe I got to do it here. There we go. Right click. I thought I could do it on scene. So I'd rather not. Yeah. Okay. Good. And then what we can do is you can see we add a cone and all this other stuff. Or we can add. So I'm going to click on scene, then right click on scene and do add from file. And I'm just going to go ahead and go down, and we're going to go to your mesh, open, and this is... Now, again, you might want to use the lower poly one. I'm using the higher poly one because my laptop's pretty powerful, so I'm not as concerned about it. But if you find that yours is lagging, just use the lower poly version. Okay, so now you're going to see is I have this layer 1, and then I also have your mesh. So now I have two other... so now I have two models inside the same scene. If you go to your layers, you'll see... they're all part of the same 3D layer. And this way, they'll all be part of the same environment. It just makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm going to select your mesh, and if I click underneath, you'll see we have our model and all that stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and position him first. So I'm going to click off and just kind of go like this so I can see him. I'm going to click on him, and then I'm going to use this arrow and pull him forward, and we'll push him down. And then I only want to rotate him in the one angle, which is this one. I'm going to rotate it like that. I'm going to click off and then click and rotate so I can see above. Click on him again, and let's just rotate it a little more straight. I'm going to grab this. Oops, that was not what I wanted. Come on, there we go. And we'll push him up against this. Click off of him, click to rotate. Okay, it's to whatever. Move him down a little bit, and then I could choose to scale him or not. I'm going to I want to move him down a little bit more. And let's move him this way a little bit more, and I'll scale him up just a little bit. Ooh, there we go. Okay. So, yay, I've got this fish now stuck in there. But I need to change some of his stuff here, right? So, let's see. Let's go to the model. And, okay. So, I got the mesh here, and then here you can see it's using this default material that's that gray, and it's somewhat shiny as far as this is concerned. So, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to click on a preset, and I'm going to do... there was one in here I liked. I think this is like... what is this one? It's like cheese or something. Or orange. Okay, I'm going to choose orange just because I think it'd be fun. I'm going to click off. Click down here, I guess. There we go. And I'll change the base color. And you'll notice with this one... oh, I thought it would change it. Let's make him more of a bluish green color. I think it will work. Oh, it didn't change. Okay, so this is also using an image. Now, one of the problems I have is that when I brought it in, you may have noticed it said that its UVs are no bueno, right? Basically, the problem is that in order for an image to lay over top of it, you have to take the 3D model and it has to be laid out flat. And currently, this one, because we made it from that program, doesn't have proper UVs. So with the model selected, I'm going to go to 3D, and I want to go to Generate UVs. When using generate all the meshes, materials will be flattened in all their animations. That's fine. Yeah, whatever. Okay, and then that will generate the UVs, and it will make it so I can actually paint on our model. So we're going to wait. And it's taking a second. Okay. Now, it's not going to look like it did much, but it did help us out. So now what I'm going to do is on the material here, I have a couple different options. So like I said, I want to change the color. I don't actually want it this yellow. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to click on this, and we're going to go to Edit Texture. And you can see these are the UVs that it made. So before, it didn't have these UVs. So this is literally the 3D model of the fish, and it's been cut up and flattened out. And that's what you're seeing here, okay? Just so you get an idea. So now I'm going to go to my layers, and I'm going to go to this layer here, and I can just change this thing's color. So let's just go over here, and I was going to do kind of, we'll say this color, okay? And I'm just going to G. Yes. Oh, I don't have the regular because I'm in 3D painting. So for this one, I have to switch my to essentials. So I have regular paint bucket. There we go, paint bucket. And why are you... Oh, mode is soft light. That is weird. Normal. There we go. I don't know why that mode was switched. Okay, let's go like that. I'm going to hit Control S to save. And when I go back here, you'll see now my fish is that color. I'm like, oh, you know what? That is too bright. So I can go back here and then be like, let's do a little bit of a darker color. And then I'll click on that, Control S, and then go back here, and you'll see, oh, that's better, right? So you can kind of see how that works. And I'm going to switch back over to 3D Workspace again. Okay, and I'm going to go back to my Select tool, which will allow me to rotate and all that. So you can see I got my fish. Now let's say I wanted my fish to have some other neat stuff. So I'm going to zoom into my... Actually, we'll do it this way. Control plus... Crap, what'd I hit? Oh, hang on a second. I just moved the thing up. And let's see, spacebar. For some reason, my hand tool with spacebar doesn't work on this one. So Control plus, and let's go up here. And I'm just going to draw, I don't know, something here. So I'm going to use my brush. And let's see. Oh, I got to be on my 3D. Click on this. Let's see. Which one is it? Let me see. So what we're gonna do is base color. Oh, yeah, a second. There it goes. Okay, I was like, why is that not working? All right. Yeah. So I'm gonna go to my thing. Go to my material. Right. So I'm in the 3D layers to my material. I'm gonna select the paintbrush so I can see that paint system is going to be a texture. I'm going to paint on the base color. And then what I can do is, paint a color on it. And let's just do a heart because he's, all right. So I can go, and I can paint directly on the model, which I'm going to go back to my select tool and you can see, oops, come on, that is painted directly onto the model. Now I could also do it this way. So let's close this out so you can see. You don't need to save it. So watch, if I have this here, now watch, if I go here and I go to this, you're actually going to see that heart I drew right there. So if I had painted, I can paint something over here, and if I saved it and go back here, you will see it here. Okay? And I don't need to say that because I didn't do anything. But I could paint anything I want. So if I want to paint his eyeball or paint any of his other colors or anything like that, I could totally paint those different variations and things like that. Okay, so if you want to paint onto the model, you can paint directly onto it, just like so. Okay, Now let's look at our default camera again, and I'm gonna do Control minus minus, and I would like to move. Let's minimize this, and control that. Can I not select both you guys? Guess I can't. Okay. So I want to move this up a little bit, and I'm going to grab my fish. I hope I can grab them both at the same time. Apparently not. Like this. Okay. So we've done that, and now what I'm going to do is type something up. Let's see. Yep. Okay. And I'm just going to click in like, eat more fish. And I'll select it, and let's change the color to something a little more vibrant. We'll say something like that. And then let's make it much larger. Let's say 48. And let's do bold. That's fine. And then I'm going to take this and make it 3D. And then you're going to see this is going to be basically using the 3D, the same sort of thing. Now this is going to be on a different layer, but that's okay. I don't really need this to interact with the other thing. But I'm just going to go ahead and move this over here and over here. And let's see if we can see, it stinks because if I rotate, I want to scale you up. I'm just going to do it this way instead. So let's scale. Trying to get, scale uniformly. There we go. I'm going to scale this guy up. Okay, so eat more fish. Beautiful. All right. Now I'm going to click, go to my layers. I'm going to select this layer now. I want to work on that one. So if I want to go back to the eat more fish, I go there. I go to this one if I want to work on this one. And you could do, well, let's go back to eat more fish so we can do more with it first. So the material that's on it, let's go to eat more fish. So eat more fish. Let's see. Text has got that color. Texture, mapping, scale. We got the extrusion depth. So if I want to change the extrusion, I could. They have shape presets. So like the other one has those bevels and things like that. I'm not really worried about that. I want to find the material. See, why is it for every letter? That's really annoying if that's the case. So we're gonna go like this, and I just want to change the color, the material. So let's do something a little bit more interesting. So let's do, what does this one look like? Ugh, that doesn't really read well. Gold. Let's do this one. We'll say okay. So I'm going to go back now to layer here, and I just want to change, so I select this layer, go back to 3D, and I just want to change my light to see if I can find something that's a little bit nicer. Let's say like that, and let's right click, oops, let's go to scene, right click, can I add? I'll go to 3D here, paint fall off, paint system. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. Okay. So we've now got a 3D poster. So from here, if you look, you can see we have these. Can I collapse you? I can. Good. I can collapse these, and these are both 3D layers. They're just separate 3D layers. So I could, with them, I could make another layer and then put something that's not 3D in here. These all work separate. But if I want to work in 3D, I can click on this layer, then go to my 3D panel and work in here, or I can just stay inside of here. Okay. So with this layer selected, I'm just going to go ahead and go to 3D, and let's render the 3D layer. And what that's going to do is it's actually very, very slowly, you're going to see it's going to do these passes, and it's going to render the 3D layer. Now, the longer you let it go, the nicer it's going to look. And I think you hit escape in order to make it stop. At least that's how most renderers work. Now, it might look a little bit different than what you saw. You can see mine looks considerably different than what I thought it would. But it's going to be more realistic, and you'll see what it actually ends up being. And then once it's rendered, you can, I'm going to pause mine actually while it's rendering, just so we don't waste time. But then you can maybe just flatten it if you want. So that way it's not 3D anymore, but you have it. Or you can leave it 3D. I would just leave it 3D. That way you have it as an option. What you could do is duplicate the layer and then flatten one and then turn the other one off. And that way you can work with it that way. But you're going to notice, I can hear my computer, it's going to start cooking because it takes a lot of processing power for to render 3D. Okay. So I'm going to pause mine, and I'll probably render this layer as well, the 3D text as well. All right, so it's still rendering. Right now, I rendered this, and then I stopped it, but just so you see, you can see time remaining. See, it's like I'm only rendering this text, and like this is actually a really nice laptop. Like it's pretty powerful, and it's taking forever. It's at 25%, and I've been here for a while. So I'm just going to double click, and then hit escape. And that will stop the rendering. So if the rendering becomes too much, because it probably will, just click on it and then hit escape and it should stop. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to duplicate this layer. So Control J. And I'm going to duplicate this one. Control J. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to take the Eat More Fish and this guy. I'm going to put both of these in a folder. I'm going to turn that folder off. Then what I'm going to do is on this one, I'm going to right click and we're going to go ahead and we're going to rasterize the 3D. Oh, we could render 3D layer there too. And I'm going to right click on this and we're going to rasterize 3D. Okay. Now the reason why I'm doing that is that now what I can do is if I need to get back to my 3D stuff, it's right here. Like if I want to make some adjustments or do anything, it's there. But it's a little bit clunky. Now I can treat these like regular old render layers and stuff, so I could take both of them and adjust them and do things like that. On my background, I'm gonna unlock it and let's just do a gradient just so that where are you? Oh, I'm gonna go back to the essentials workflow, and then we're gonna go here and let's do a gradient, and I'm just gonna kind of click and drag like that, and let's switch out my. Let's just double click on it. I'm gonna put this out here, and let's change this to. I was picturing it being like a golden color. Let's do this one, and let's change this to kind of a brighter yellow, and let's also do a brighter yellow for this guy. Okay, and let's just oops, didn't want to make another one. I just wanted to here we go. I want to extend this a little bit. Let's say like that. Hit okay. Oh, okay, got to remake it apparently. There we go. That doesn't look great, but you get the idea. So anyway, I've now got these 3D layers. I got this 3D poster, and I could do more with it, but this video is the videos are getting very long. So hopefully you got an idea of sort of how the 3D stuff works. It's very likely to get stuck. Just do the best that you can with what you have. And then when you're done, you could just save this PSD. So I'm just going to Control S to save it because I already had it saved as 3D poster. But you're going to see that the rendering takes a really long time. Rendering always takes a long time. But to render a single frame, it's very, very slow inside of Photoshop. You got to remember, this is sort of a side thing. I would say generally, I wouldn't do a lot of 3D stuff inside of Photoshop. But the fact that it has it included into it means that you could take 3D elements and put them in there. And that opens up a whole spectrum of possibilities that you can bring 3D elements. Because now you can do really cool effects and do all these other interesting things, which might be a bit slow, but when included to your other work, might be able to make it a level above. And you got to think too, if you're like, let's say a graphic designer and you're going against another person, right? Like, let's say that she's awesome and let's say that you're awesome. If you're awesome and you can do 3D, then that's going to put you a level above her. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes some of these little tangential skills can be a benefit, even though they might not be the primary focus, and they still shouldn't be. Because maybe 3D, but if she's awesome and you're not awesome, they're still going to hire her. But that could be the determining factor between you and the other person. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna call that good. You can kind of see, you get a little bit of an idea. I want you to eat more fish, and I would probably add more, obviously, components and things like that. But we did generate a little bit of 3D in there. We also brought in our 3D model. If you have any questions about any of this, I teach 3D classes as well as web classes, so I teach those as well as this. So if you have any questions about 3D, I would take the 3D class if that's something you really want to pursue. because it'll definitely, the process will be a little bit more elaborate on, a little more straightforward. Other than that, good luck. So make whatever you want. I just want to see 3D implemented in some way. However you want to go about doing it. It doesn't have to look at all like this. In fact, don't. Do something different. All right. So, go team.